over the large freshwater lake as the moon peeked from behind the distant mountain peak. "Did you see that?" I asked as my eyes focused on a flash of light across the inky black water. "See what?" Kyle answered, still nuzzling my neck. I raised my arm and pointed, desperately trying to distract myself from the sensation created by Kyle's lips as they dipped toward my collarbone. I saw light across the lake. I think it was coming from Rosenberg Island. Kyle lifted his head, which allowed my heart rate to slow down just a bit. I could sense he was studying the water, although his hard body at my back confirmed it was still our weekend together that was on his mind. "I don't see anything." "It comes and goes," I informed him. "You have to really watch. The light isn't much more than a dim flash you'd most likely miss if you aren't really focusing on it." "It's probably a boat, or possibly a headlight from the highway on the east shore reflecting off the water," Kyle said, as he lowered his head once again. The light I'd seen didn't look like a boat, but the island was uninhabited, and Kyle's lips on my neck had started a tingling deep down inside that was demanding my attention. "I guess you're right. Should we rejoin the others, or perhaps you'd prefer to go back to your place?" I expected Kyle to enthusiastically agree with the idea of heading to his place, and was surprised when he didn't answer. I turned slightly and glanced at him. "Is everything okay?" "It looks like we have company." I glanced in the direction of Kyle's gaze and frowned. "What do you suppose she wants?" "I have no idea, but I have a feeling this isn't a social call." Kyle released his arms from around my waist and took a step back. I watched as Deputy Kate Baldwin, a petite and strongly opinionated new hire at the Serenity Sheriff's Department, approached from the nearby parking area. She stopped at the bonfire where the Serenity High School staff were gathered and spoke to Principal Greg Remington. They chatted for a few minutes. Greg pointed in my direction, and she headed toward where Kyle and I were standing. "Kate," I greeted as she approached. "TJ, Kyle." "How can we help you this evening?" I asked in a syrupy sweet tone of voice I was far from feeling. Kate was the polar opposite of my good friend, Deputy Roy Fisher. I got along great with him and had helped him with many local investigations. But Kate was a stridently by-the-book sort of woman who had no use for amateur sleuths. To say the two of us clashed was putting it mildly. "Do you know Gina Roberts?" Kate asked, looking me directly in the eye. "I do," I answered the woman I probably would have liked and admired had she not been an obstacle to my every move. "She's a math teacher at the high school where I work as a coach and physical education teacher." "I understand this is a party for high school staff. Is she here?" I shook my head. "I haven't seen her." "Were you expecting her to be here?" Kate asked. I frowned. "Actually, I was. We spoke earlier, and she said she'd see me here. But she never showed, and I haven't heard from her." "Is there something going on?" "Do you know what Gina's plans were between the time you spoke to her and the time she was to meet you here?" "She told me she planned to volunteer at the regional wakeboard competition being held in Thunder Bay this morning, and then she was going to grab lunch with a friend. I'm not certain what her plans were between lunch and meeting me here. Again, I have to ask, is Gina okay?" Kate didn't even acknowledge my question before continuing with another of her own. "Do you remember Striker Bristow?" "Of course I remember him. He was one of the prime suspects in Judge Harper's murder investigation. What does he have to do with Gina? Why are you asking me all these questions?" Kate glanced at Kyle and then back at me. I could sense she was hesitant to fill us in. I tried to respect the fact that she was a professional and we weren't. But there was no way I was letting this woman walk away without telling me what in the heck was going on. Striker Bristow was a developer who came to town with plans to build a strip mall. When the mayor tried to push back, he came up with a plan to blackmail him. It didn't work, but personally, I had no use for the man. "You may as well tell her why you're asking all these questions," Kyle said after a brief pause. "You know she isn't going to leave it alone if she thinks one of her friends is in some sort of trouble." Kate looked at Kyle, and her face softened just a bit. Was the new deputy into Kyle? Sure, he was drop-dead gorgeous and smarter than pretty much anyone in town. But he was mine, and the new deputy had best keep her wandering eyes to herself. I was about to say something about women who poached in other women's territory when Kyle took my hand in his and gave it a gentle squeeze. It occurred to me that his smile and friendly demeanor had been calculated. There was no doubt he was going to get more out of Kate with his smile than I was going to get with the tantrum. "Gina is wanted for questioning in the